What's going on, brothers and sisters? Chris here from Namaste Gaming, and today we've got the Tower of Nightmares patch to talk about. For those of you who haven't been able to log in yet, the content consists of the story instance that you're watching right now, followed by some open world dynamic event content. If you've been playing Guild Wars 2 for a while, you may have automatically translated open world dynamic event content into AoE spamming Zerg content. And you're not wrong, but before we bust out the pitchforks and torches, let's discuss it a bit further. My initial impression of this content was that it was Clockwork Invasions 2.0, but upon further inspection, most of what I hated about that update is not present in this one. This is an ongoing thing in a single zone, not a super frequent scheduled event that sucks the entire population into a zone that would most likely be a ghost town otherwise. These mobs are reasonable and don't funlock you every 3 steps, as opposed to the bastard Aether Blades and their million static fields. Most importantly though, it doesn't kill the economy, because the drops are subpar compared to ore and frostgorge farming, which means you don't have to worry about being at a disadvantage if you decide you only want to dip in, get your achievements, and dip back out. I know that there are a lot of you who hate Zerg content in general, and I'm pretty meh on it myself, but apparently a lot of the player base enjoys it, and as far as Zerg content goes, this is pretty decent, at least in terms of it not being particularly annoying in any way I've noticed so far. One of the more interesting things I've noticed is that the toxic offshoots that are kind of the central threat that we're fighting this patch are actually going to start showing up in the Eternal Battlegrounds. This is one of those risks that ArenaNet takes that really no one else in the industry would be even willing to consider. Taking what is a relatively pure and independent game mode populated by its own very vocal and critical subset of players, and putting some new temporary content in it that could potentially detract from the baseline experience of that game mode, or could end up creating some really fun, cool, emergent gameplay. I respect that, and although I'm skeptical about whether or not it'll add anything to the gameplay, I'm hopeful that it'll at least be some extra fun and karma for the Zerg, if nothing else. But that's not all. I have a theory. Remember last week's patch preview where I talked about the idea that they're using WvWs Season 1 and the accompanying achievements to encourage PvE players to get into WvW and get them to stay there as sort of a roundabout way of smoothing the difficulty curve? I think I might have been onto something. Not that it was some huge hidden secret or anything. I mean, the WvW Season 1 achievements appearing in the Living Story section of the achievement UI instead of the WvW section pretty much tells the tale in and of itself, but even so, I feel like we're going to be seeing the Eternal Battlegrounds turn into the PvE kitten section of WvW. And no offense to the PvE kittens, I love you guys, and I'm probably worse at PvE than you are at WvW. I just got used to hearing the term in WoW, and it makes me smile. No offense intended, but here we are. But yeah, I feel like we can expect to see more stuff like this happening in EB. I wouldn't be surprised to find out that ANET wants to push EB into more of a WvW training wheels mode, and leave the Borderlands for the WvW dedicated. It makes sense, really. The Borderlands are measurably more difficult to navigate, the variety in terrain adds an extra layer of complexity to the strategy side of things, and new players typically avoid the Borderlands like the plague. So with that in mind, here's my question for you guys this week. If you're primarily a PvE player, do you feel like the recent additions to WvW make it feel more accessible? If you're a WvW player, how do you feel about having living story content included in EB? Finally, if you're primarily an SPVP player who is watching all of this unfold right now, what do you think a similar level of attention from ANET devs would look like on your side of things, and would you welcome it? I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about this stuff. That's all I've got for you today. If you enjoyed the video, you can let me know by clicking the like button, and if you're new around here, make sure to click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Much love to each and every one of you. Stay black.